Dear students, how are you all? Dear students, today we are going to start with a new lesson number 3, solids, liquids and gases. I know you have this knowledge earlier because we had taken a wee bit of this portion earlier as well. So, bache, what is the learning outcome? What are you going to learn from this chapter? In this chapter, we will discuss about matter and its 3 states. Yes, you took it right. The 3 states are solid, liquid and gaseous form. We are going to differentiate between the 3 states of matter. Then we would explain that matter can be changed from one state to another through condensation, evaporation, sublimation. Then we are going to define the soluble, solution and its components. So let's get started with our lesson. Oh, what is this? The states of matter. So we have the 3 states of matter that we are going to discuss in this lesson. And they are solids, liquids and gaseous. बच्चे we are even going to see their compositions. कि इनके जो molecules होते हैं वो कैसे bind up होते हैं. So we are going to study this topic in detail now. Now dear students, you should be remembering our world is made up of different kind of materials. There are rocks, there is soil, there is sand, iron, wood, water, air and many other things. So bache, when we come across these things in our daily life, you should be remembering we find some doors, we find the windows and we find that these doors and windows are made up of either wood, glass or metals. Did any time this thing come to your mind कि ये कहाँ से आए हैं? From where? How are they made? इनको हम अलग अलग तरीके से कैसे differentiate कर सकते हैं? Then you are studying from your book. So book किस चीज़ से बनी है? Heavenly bodies हैं. We had talked about a solar system. We've talked about moon. तो ये moon, हमारे planets, ये rocks से बने हैं. Is that clear? You know about the sun? Sun is made from the burning gases. Now the living plants, such as plants, animals, are made up of cells. So bache, all the things around us are made up of some different materials and these different materials are called as matter. What do you call them? Matter. So dear students, you know that everything in this universe is made up of something. If we check out, we have the living things, we have the non-living things. We have sun, we have moon, river, rocks, natural things, man-made things. They are all made up of some material. Something is made up of gases, some is made up of solids, some is made up of liquids. We have hut, we have a car, we have a bed. These are the non-living things. These are the man-made things and even they are made up of matter. So everything is made up of matter. Dear students, we are continuously talking about matter. But what is matter? क्या आपको पता है what is matter? Yes, you know it indirectly. But we are going to study in detail. You know, matter is anything that has both mass and volume. Mass means weight, right? Matter has energy. Matter is something that is around us. Matter is everything that you can touch, you can see, you can feel, you can smell. So dear students, you know that now all the materials are made up of matter. But it is important for us to know something about matter. Matter किस चीज़ से बना है? So बच्चे, anything that has mass, occupies space is known as matter. You know, matter is made up of tiny particles called atoms and molecules. These particles are so small कि हम लोग इसको naked eye से नहीं देख सकते हैं. We have to see some microscope in order to see to it. Now, dear students, for example, see to it air. Air is made up of many molecules or gases. It is nitrogen, oxygen. आपने composition पढ़ा है. It is nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, many other gases, even dust, even smoke. So water is also made up of many molecules like hydrogen and oxygen. all the living and the non-living things are also made up of matter. So the molecules in matter are held together by some attractive forces. So this is what a matter is. Always remember, matter is made up of the tiny particles called atoms and molecules. So dear students, to remember, matter is made up of particles. It can be a solid, right, like a rock. It can be liquid like water. It can be even the gas, isn't it? So the different states of matter are due to the different arrangements of particles of matter, the molecules that we talked about. In solid, the particles of the matter are very close to each other. See कितने closely compacted है? Solid particles hold each other very tightly and there is a strong force of attraction between them. बहुत tightly compacted होते हैं. Solids have a definite shape and a definite volume also, only because of these molecules. But in liquid, the particles are packed closely together, but not that closely जितने ये solids में होते हैं. Particles in liquids are less tightly compacted than in the solids. Forces of attraction in liquid is weaker. So liquids have a definite volume, but they do not have a definite shape. Right? जिस shape में हम उनको डालते हैं, water वैसा ही दिखता है. Is that clear? Now let's talk about a gaseous state. बच्चे जो gas होती है ना, it is not like इसके जो molecules है, वो इतने tightly compacted नहीं होते, बहुत loosely होते हैं. The particles of the matter are very far away from each other. And the force of attraction between the particles of matter and gases is very, very weak. Gases neither have a proper shape nor they have a proper volume. हम इनको जिस भी कंटेनर में, अगर बड़े में डालेंगे तो ये बड़े की शेप ले लेंगी, अगर हम इनको छोटे कंटेनर में डालेंगे तो इट वुड बी इन दैट उसी में फिट हो जाएगी. Students, now you know that matter exists in three basic states: solids, liquids and gases. For example, water can occur in three different states also, like solid form of water, which is ice, liquid form of water, which is water itself, and gas, which is a water vapor. Dear students, remember solid, liquid and gases. So dear students, you should always remember that whenever we talk about a solid, solid is always very rigid. Let's see to it. Solid is rigid. It has a fixed shape. It has a fixed volume. और आप solid को ना squash नहीं कर सकते हो बिल्कुल भी. Is that clear? Squash मतलब it cannot be compressed very properly. बहुत ज़्यादा जब हम लोग इसको solid को force देंगे ना, then only it can be pressed or it can be squashed. Now बच्चे, let's see to it. We talk about the next one, and the next one is particularly the liquid. When I am talking about a liquid, you should remember, liquid are not very rigid. They do not have a fixed shape. They have a fixed volume. And they cannot be squashed. आप लोग एक वाटर को किस तरह से कंप्रेस कर सकते हो? हम लोग तो कर ही नहीं सकते वाटर को कंप्रेस. Is that clear? Now the next is, we people are going to talk about the next one, and that is a gas. बच्चे, when I talk about a gas, gases are not rigid. देखो कितने loosely compacted हैं. They do not have a fixed shape. They do not have a fixed volume. लेकिन गैस को हम लोग यहाँ पर compress कर सकते हैं. We can compress it into a bigger one, into a smaller one. Now dear students, let's discuss about the first form of matter, that is solids in detail. Before understanding the solids, let's do one activity. You have to collect many tiny pebbles. Pebbles का मतलब जो छोटे छोटे पत्थर होते हैं ना, we have to collect them. Pick up a few pebbles and press them hard, और उनको बहुत hard press करना है, and you have to fill them in a container, an empty glass. Tightly close the lid, right? हमने बहुत press किया, उनको एक empty jar में डाल दिया, and now we are closing a lid. Now you have to shake the jar. What do you find? क्या आप उस जार को शेक कर सकते हो उन पेबल्स को जो कि उस जार के अंदर हैं? The answer will be no. The outcome is pebbles are so tightly packed inside the jar that they are unable to move very freely. इससे हमें क्या पता चलता है? The same manner, जो molecules solids के अंदर होते हैं, they are so tightly packed and they attract each other. और हम लोग इनको ना तो प्रेस कर सकते हैं और ना ही डीफॉर्म कर सकते हैं. So you should always remember this particular thing कि the solids, like यहाँ पर pebble is a solid cannot be pressed, it cannot be deformed, और जब ये बहुत tightly packed होते हैं ना, we cannot move them also. From our activity of the pebbles, we learned कि जो pebbles होते हैं, they are tightly packed inside the jar and so they are unable to move freely. Even the shape of the book stays the same whether you put it on a bag or place it in a table. जब आप लोग अपनी बुक्स को बैग में रखते हो, it's a solid, so it remains the same. या अगर आप उसको टेबल पे भी रखोगे, then also it remains the same. ऐसा थोड़ा ना होगा कि कंप्रेस होकर वो बिल्कुल एक thick book thin हो जाएगी. No, it cannot happen. Do you know why this happened? This is because they are solids. They cannot be pressed or deformed easily. The molecules in the solids are very tightly packed. और इनके बीच में जो attraction forces होती है ना, like you had seen earlier, they are very, very strong. They attract each other very strongly. So the particles in a solid can only vibrate in their fixed positions, but they cannot move freely around each other. So what did you come to know about solids? They have a fixed shape, they have a fixed volume, they cannot move freely, they are easy to hold, and they can be put and have a definite shape. But do remember one thing, some solids like sponge, it is not that solid. अगर हम इसको ऊपर बहुत ज़्यादा force apply करेंगे ना, after some time it tend to compress. Is that clear? So dear students, again remember about the solids. They have a definite shape, they have a definite volume. Particles are very closely put together and they can only be locked and vibrate in their particular places. Right? The strong attractive forces is between these particles. And remember, they cannot be compressed easily. Now let's discuss about the second form of matter, that is liquid, in detail. Dear students, let's discuss about the liquids. But before talking about the liquids, let's do the second activity. Take the water in your hand and try to press or hold the way you hold a solid. Can you press the water the way you press an ice? Answer is no. You cannot press or hold the water. Do you know the reason behind this? The water passes from your hands because molecules in a liquid are less packed than those in a solid. Molecules have more spaces between them. The attraction between the molecules is no doubt strong, but less stronger than in a solid. So that's why liquids flow easily and do not have a fixed shape. So dear students, why does the liquid spread? It spreads because liquid does not have any shape. As they flow, we can pour the liquid from one container to another. इसके लिए an interesting fact and interesting experiment is there. Take 2 glasses, one big one, and उसके अंदर हम लोगों ने एक quantity of water डालना है, half glass full. लेकिन जब उसी वाटर को हम एक स्मॉल ग्लास में डालेंगे, डू यू नो व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू सी? वो स्मॉल ग्लास तो पूरा फिल हो गया. व्हाई? बिकॉज लिक्विड उसी की शेप ले लेता है वो जिस कंटेनर में पोर होता है. सो रिमेंबर, द वॉल्यूम रिमेन्स द सेम, राइट? So what does we come to know about a liquid? The things that are clear to us from a liquid is that the liquids have a fixed volume. Even if they change the shape, they can occupy the same amount of space. They do not have any fixed shape because of their loosely packed molecule arrangements. They can flow easily and take the shape of the container into which they are poured. They can flow from a higher level to a lower level on their draw. Now let's discuss about our last form of the matter, and that is the gas. In detail, students, let's discuss about the gas form now. And when we take up the gas, we have one more activity. You have to light an incense stick. Incense stick का मतलब धूप बत्ती हमारे को यहाँ पर लाइट करनी है. And one activity is try to catch the smoke. क्या आप उस स्मोक को कैच कर सकते हो? No, the answer is no. एक और चीज़ है, अब हमने उसी गैस को ना, जो स्मोक है, उसको एक बॉटल में क्लोज करना है. कैन यू क्लोज दैट इन अ बॉटल? इवन इफ यू क्लोज इट, आप लोगों को पता है क्या दिखेगा? कि इट इज मूविंग. द गैस और द स्मोक इज मूविंग इनसाइड दैट कंटेनर. सो व्हाट इज द आउटकम ऑफ ऑल दिस? Outcome is that we cannot hold the smoke in our hand, and smoke does not remain at one place also. Do you know why? Because the molecules in a gas are very loosely compacted, loosely packed, and they move freely in all the directions. Also, the forces of attraction between them is very weak, which makes them to move easily. So, dear students, remember, the gas does not have a definite shape and a definite volume. Students, while performing this activity, we have experienced that it is very difficult to hold the smoke in our hands. इसी के साथ साथ smoke कभी भी हमारे हाथ में तो रह ही नहीं सकती. You can do it yourself also. Smoke just passes away. Why so? And it can even very freely move in a bottle. Now the question is why so? Because जो इसके molecules होते हैं वो बहुत loosely packed होते हैं and they can move freely in all the directions. और इनके अंदर जो forces of attraction होती हैं ना बच्चे, वो बहुत ज़्यादा weak होती है. They allow the molecules to move in all the directions very freely and occupy the available space. इसीलिए तो अगर हम एक गैस को एक कंटेनर, बिग कंटेनर में डालेंगे तो भी वो पूरा कवर कर लेगी, और अगर कंप्रेस कर कर इसको हम एक स्मॉल कंटेनर में डालते हैं तो भी उतनी ही अमाउंट आ जाएगी. सो व्हाट डज दिस स्टेट? इट स्टेट्स दैट द गैस डज नॉट हैव एनी शेप एंड वॉल्यूम. नॉट ओनली दिस बच्चे, आप एक इंसेंस को लाइट करना जिसको हम अगरबत्ती बोलते हैं, एंड यू विल फील दैट आफ्टर सम टाइम द फ्रेग्रेंस ऑफ इट इज गोइंग टू स्प्रेड इन अ होल रूम. व्हाई अगेन? बिकॉज द गैस passes away. The smoke can freely move in all the directions. So what is the conclusion that we have? The gases do not have a definite shape, spread out to fill out all the space that is available for them, change their volume very easily, flow more easily than liquids, are almost invisible, and they can be compressed much more easily than a liquid or a solid.